The surge is on and the queuing is round the block. Outreach buses in Bolton have been deployed to vaccinate as many people as possible, as cases of the Indian variant of coronavirus have doubled in the last week. Today, the Prime Minister did announce changes to the vaccination programme, but they were national, not localised, accelerating second doses to all over 50s after just 8 weeks. He did have this message, though, for the North West.
For those living in Bolton and Blackburn, I'm very sorry that you're once again suffering from this virus, but now it's more vital than ever that you play your part in stopping the spread. So we won't be preventing businesses from reopening on Monday, but we will be asking you to do your bit. Take the vaccine when you can.
In Bolton, infections of the Indian variant have increased rapidly. The fear this could soon be replicated across the nation. Blackburn has had a similar increase. If many more areas are added to the list, the roadmap to the great unlocking of British summer is at risk.
I do not believe that we need, on the present evidence, to delay our roadmap, and we will proceed with our plan to move to step 3 in England from Monday. But I have to level with you that this new variant could pose a serious disruption to our progress and could make it more difficult to move to step 4 in June.
Step 4. That's as close as possible to a return to life pre-COVID, pre-social distancing. The Chief Medical Officer's take, it's wait and see. But there is an expectation this new variant will soon become the most dominant.
Is this a bit more transmissible, or is this a lot more transmissible? If it's a lot more transmissible, that would imply we could have a really significant surge. If it's a bit more transmissible, that would imply we will have a bit more pressures, a bit more of a race between the vaccination programme and the virus.
While there's insufficient evidence so far to suggest this variant is more deadly, the view amongst scientific advisors is hospitalisations could surge as lockdowns ease. But for now, Monday's easings of restrictions in England remain unchanged. There was one change in Portugal, though. As of next week, their beaches will be open to holidaymakers from the UK.
Looks enticing. Paul McNamara joins us now from the newsroom. Paul.
Yeah, well, this is a big few weeks coming up for the government now. They've always said that they will be led by the science when it comes to the next stages of unlocking. We've actually got a glimpse now of what the science really says. This is from the SAGE documents from the Scientific Advisory Group. At the minutes a couple of days ago, they said if this variant were to have a 40 to 50% transmission advantage, it is likely that progressing with step 3 alone, that's what happens on Monday, would lead to a substantial resurgence of hospitalisations. Progressing with both step 3 and 4, that's what happens in mid-June, at the earliest dates could lead to a much larger peak. So look, that's the big question now for the next 5 weeks. How transmissible is this new variant? And is it really going to be possible to fully unlock come mid-June? But look, it's just important to mention, deaths are coming down at the moment. The rolling average right now is down to 7 a day.
Thanks, Paul. Well, as you've heard, Bolton is one of the areas that's seen the highest rise in cases of the Indian variant. Our North of England correspondent Claire Fallon is there. Claire.
Well, from what I've been hearing this evening, it does seem that during the course of the day, it did actually come fairly close to the prospect that Bolton might have been put into some kind of local lockdown. That hasn't happened in the end. After a day of wranglings, talks of toing and froing between leaders here and central government as to how they can get a grip on this situation. I mean, in some ways, the obvious thing to do would be to say, right, don't go ahead with the easing of restrictions on Monday. But the case that was made by leaders here was that that actually wouldn't be effective because, let's face it, they know a thing or two about local lockdowns in this area. It was back in July last year when they were first put into a local lockdown. They've had some kind of restriction in place ever since then. And for a period in September, Bolton had more restrictions than pretty much anywhere else when their pubs were ordered to close along with other venues. The situation now, though, is very different in two ways because of the very, very rapid spread of that variant, which is pushing up their case numbers, taking them up to having the highest infection rate in England, but also because of the vaccine. And leaders here are convinced that that is the reason why the vast majority of their cases are in people in their teens and 20s and 30s. So they've managed to escape a local lockdown for now. They hope it will stay that way.